So there is an interesting numerical value. Now, in Jewish, in Hebrew letters, the letters are also numbers. So Aleph is one, but also a letter. In English, if like the letter O doesn't have a numerical value, the letter B doesn't have a numerical value. We say it's the second letter, but we don't say it's equal to the number 2. So there's no 0. So as soon as you get to 10, you have a new letter. So you don't have like 1 and 0, which is really 2 numbers, as one number, 10. You just have one number, Yud. That's the whole 10. Then when you get to 20, you need another number because you need 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and 100. Then you get 200, 300, 400. Because in between 20 and 30, you could do the number for 20 and the number for 6 or 7 or whatever you're up to. So 515, the word shira, song, is equal to pleading, which is v'eschanan, and pleading, and prayer, which is tefillah, and supplication, which is tachanan. But actually, the word supplication, you have to add 1 for the whole word. So I thought that was interesting. And then I want to share, when we're praying, it's like this idea that we could pray in all different ways. We can pray, we can pray with our actions, with our words, with our music, with our songs, with our body. It's like when people say love in action, wisdom in action. So prayer in action. Tachanun and supplication is sort of like making God feel more supple toward us. Pleading is just straight out begging. Tefillah is this word for prayer. And song is shira. So it's all related. And I want to share a few more things. So first of all, let's say someone's praying, please, can I have something better in my life? And we say, why? But then there's a righteous person and they're suffering. So how do we understand that? And then also, what about a wicked person? Their prayers seem to be answered. So in shaar habitachon, which is called the Gate of Trust in chapter 3, this is actually part of a book called Chovos Halevovos, Duties of the Heart, by Rabeinu Bacheya ibn Pekuda. So there's 10 gates. The 4th gate is shaar habitachon. And he says some ideas. Why the righteous suffer. 1, for a previous sin. 2, to earn a greater portion in the world to come. 3, to teach others how suffering should not hinder divine service. And 4, to display true righteousness. 5, he did not affect his surroundings or she appropriately. Reasons why the wicked prosper. 1, for a previous good deed. 2, as a deposit for a righteous inheritor. 3, as a cause for the greater punishment of death. 4, God's patience with him, that he'll be repenting. 5, the reward for a deed of his ancestor. And 6, to identify the true servants of God. So I also want to say that there is a commandment that a man should marry and have children. So in Yevamot, in the Talmud, 62b, it says, grandchildren are like children in regards to the mitzvah to be fruitful and multiply. If his children pass away but leave offspring, especially if his son died, then there's a grandson, or if a daughter died, there's a granddaughter. It's like he's been fruitful and multiplied because they're still alive and they could still have children. If the offspring died before children, his commandment was really to leave offspring, to continue the race of humans, the humanity. A man without a wife is without joy and blessing and goodness. How do we know that? Because in Deuteronomy 14, verse 26, it says, you shall rejoice, you and your household. So it means that with a wife, you will rejoice with a household, not just by yourself. Ezekiel 44, verse 30, to cause a blessing to rest in your house. So it's a blessing, right, to be in your house. And 3, it is not good that man should be alone. That's Genesis 2, verse 18. It's not good. So a man without a wife is actually without Torah. Is it that I have no help in me, and that sound wisdom is driven from me? That's Job 6, verse 13. And without protection, a woman shall go around a man. Jeremiah 31, verse 22. And without peace, and how do we know that? Because you shall know that your tent is in peace, and you shall visit your habitation and shall miss nothing. That's Job chapter 5, verse 24. And Hashem answers one who loves his wife. And this is from 63b. Remember, we're learning Yevamot 62b. Now it goes into Yevamot 63b. It says, one who loves his wife as he loves himself. In Isaiah 58, verse 9, it says, then shall you call, and the Lord will answer. You shall cry, and he'll say, here I am. And I want to share something. So it's mental growth, really, to be able to think about another person, or to be able to say, hey, maybe not all suffering is bad, or, for example, how can I live in prayer? Like, how could my life be a prayer? So I thought for myself, what are some areas of mental growth? So I did some journaling, and you're welcome to join also. Using I notice when speaking for the sake of innocence, trust, honesty, rather than just narrating, dominating, dictating, like, you're this or it's this. Rather say, I notice that it's like this, or that you seem like this. And also listening to all that life has to say, including to injuries, tight places in the muscles or joints, the silence, or to other people, even when it isn't directly, quote unquote, pleasing, enjoyable, good. Nurture via undivided, using nurture via undivided attention and safety. So basically, mental growth would be to nurture through undivided attention and to give safety through asking permission. This brings in the body-mind it brings the body-mind peace and comfort. So the body gets comfort. The body and mind are so basically, in other words, when we nurture with undivided attention, and when we give safety by asking permission, this body-mind separation, the divide between them, gets peace and comfort. So there's comfort and there's peace between the body and mind. This way our body doesn't do something against our mind doesn't do something against the body, and all around. What else can we say about mental growth? Sharing from the hurt rather than from the anger. So we don't call it, instead of name calling, yelling, or insulting, we share our pain rather than anger at the person who might have caused our pain. Remember, not all suffering is bad. Also, it's about being able to put aside our selfishness or short-term satisfaction, instant gratification. And this idea, which we mentioned before, is being able to care for a wife who could be helpless or could be sick. I mean, she could be giving birth, or she becomes old. She's still your wife. So this is for someone for a helpless person, even a sick person, a child, an elder. Your children with her. Not to treat them any less. This is your continuity, right? And so this makes me think of the idea that if you're kind to yourself, you can be kind to your wife, kind to another. It's like this natural kindness you don't need to work so hard for, and it doesn't need to take so much out of you. Then we have the idea that we don't need, like, mental growth is not going off into this diagnostic, abstract headspace where there's when there's a physical, real world need for action. So we could say it's not all about explanations. Not always do explanations or analyses, not always do they help. My ground, knowing what it is, your ground, your standing, and the common ground, the shared space. That's also mental growth. Mental growth is also not always needing to defend or rationalize. It's also about listening to the person. Like, this is a theme a few times I mentioned here. Listening to the person, not just their words. Like, you might think, oh, they just need to get it out. But no, the person needs to be heard. And if you want to be heard, then how much more you could recognize, not how much more, but like how, therefore, much you could recognize that someone else just needs to be heard. It's that you need to make sure that they feel important. It's not what they're saying is important. What they're saying is an expression of them. It's them that is important. So figuring out, mental growth is also figuring out constructive ways to express our energy. So people could end up with energy shooting out, but if we have mature ways to do so, that could be very, very efficient, productive. Like, it's I like the word harness and channel for this. Moving and also mental growth is when we are able to move forward, releasing any volcanoes or trapped anger safely without threat, and spiritually welcoming, basically feeling at home. And I think that's a good place to stop. In this case, I want to wish everybody feeling deserving of the highest level of self-care and a quality of life, and to feel warm and cozy, to have a lot of underground growth becoming real, and purpose and meaning and meaningfulness and pointfulness, like a life that feels like it has a real point, and with intention, the two sides of the heart, wherever there's been not the two sides of the heart, the divisions, any internal divisions brought together in touch, and forgiveness, and listening, a lot of listening, and healthy relationship. And whoever's not married and wants to be married, that they see the way to get there. And whoever is married and wants to stay married, they see the way to get there. And that we shouldn't suffer. We should be able to see everything that happens to us as good, and recognize that if we would have been able to have the option to choose so, we would have done so. And to be able to have our lives as a prayer. I wish you a good Shabbos, and may you receive generosity, love, and laughter, and really a sense of not just feeling important and significant, but really having a mental growth. Like, mental growth is often invisible. It happens deep in the underground of the mind, in the subconscious. But may it become clear how much the mental growth, and just with the desire. Okay. Have a good Shabbos. Bye.